Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, wanting to talk about the AliExpress Clone Troopers. But Hybrid, we had a topical Tuesday like 2 months ago about the morality of AliExpress Clone Troopers. Absolutely, we did. There are more things to talk about in this video. We're also going to reiterate some of the points of that morality video. So, there have been, in the last month, a bunch of bootleg clone troopers added to the AliExpress store. And with that, there has been some discussion recently on social media between people that don't really understand what they're talking about or have been given information that's a little less than accurate about the legality of these figures. And one thing that I don't really like is false information being spreaded. So I'm going to try and counter that by telling you guys the facts about these bootleg action figures. Something that was being said is that it is illegal to buy these action figures and that you are being put on on like a federal watch list if you do, which is an absolutely ridiculous claim. The feds have way more important things to pay attention to than if you have bought one single bootleg Star Wars action figure. You're not on a watch list. If you've heard that, don't believe that. That is completely just absolutely extreme conversation there. So, I guess we're just going to start by quoting some laws. So, if you Google, is buying counterfeit goods illegal? The first thing you're going to come up with is a thing from the cbp.gov, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, that says it's illegal to purchase counterfeit goods, bring them in the U.S., may result in civil or criminal penalties. And that tries to moral shame you by saying that purchasing counterfeit goods supports criminal activities like forced labor or human trafficking. The latter's probably not wrong there. However, the illegal to purchase counterfeit goods is a broad definition there. Yeah, counterfeit goods really aren't. But the big thing about counterfeit goods is the redistribution of counterfeit goods. If you're buying yourself one action figure, you're not breaking the law. If you're buying 1,000 bootleg action figures to resell at a Comic-Con booth, that's redistribution of counterfeit goods. That is a criminal offense. Don't do that. If you are a customizer and you're buying 20 white clone trooper bodies to paint into custom figures, it's kind of a gray area because you've like used it in an artsy way. And ultimately, I would just advise you to not do that. Not do that in like mass. If someone calls you and says, "Hey, I want to get 20 custom clone troopers from you," well, you maybe just to protect yourself, it might be better to go with a Hasbro, but actual purchased Hasbro body there. Even then, the odds of you being tracked down on this are absolutely non-existent. Do you think that we would have such an extreme market of counterfeit goods if you were genuinely going to be tracked down for doing that? Now, scrolling down a little bit, a good question gets asked, for people who also ask, is it illegal to wear fake goods? Because remember, the majority of counterfeit goods are not clone trooper action figures. One of the biggest markets of counterfeit goods are purses and designer clothes and shoes. And this straightly says the manufacture and sales of counterfeit goods is illegal. Buying counterfeit goods, however, is not illegal, even if you do so knowingly. And then it tries to morally grandstand after by saying there's many reasons you should not do so, which, again, fair. So, as far as the actual legal ramifications of purchasing counterfeit goods, if you buy yourself, a couple of these AliExpress clone troopers, you're not getting put on some federal list. Basically, what's going to happen, because every package that comes into the United States from international goes through customs, where they inspect and make sure that you're not getting something illegal internationally. If it makes it through customs, you're great. If customs claims it, you're just out your money. That's it. And I've never heard of anyone's AliExpress clone troopers getting held up by customs. If they were really illegal, don't you think we wouldn't be allowed to get our hands on them? So that's kind of where I stand on the legality of the AliExpress knockoffs. Now, I will throw in a little bit about morality, because one of the points made in the discussion that I'm going to get to is are you really going to justify taking money out of Hasbro's pocket with the argument of, well, Hasbro hasn't made this figure, because like how AliExpress is making these ARF Troopers and Phase 2 Jesse and Hardcase and the different versions of Apo and Waxer and Boyle. For that, I absolutely will. If Hasbro wanted to make ARF Trooper money from me, they would have made an ARF Trooper at some point in the last 10 years of Black Series releases. Instead, we have gotten countless Luke Skywalkers, infinite Mandalorian figures, carbonized, credit collection. I love credit collection, but I would trade it for a Clone Trooper line. Like, this would not be a hard figure. An ARF Trooper is just a new head on an old body for Hasbro, and they will not do it. They've had 10 years to do it. So, looking at the AliExpress inventory, they have a solid Phase 2 clone, a solid white Phase 2 clone. And this was the only way to get a Phase 2 clone for a while now. And now they're finally releasing the Hasbro one, the Clone Wars 20th one. And you know what? At this point, I'd say we probably shouldn't be buying this because there's actually a legitimate Hasbro one. But for lack of any other alternative, this is what you had. The old body Phase 2 clone was in a expensive 4-pack. Like, you couldn't even army build it. Like, if you wanted a group of Phase 2 all-white clones, this was your only option. I think it's become less moral now that Hasbro has a version coming out. Same can be said for the 501st, because they had a new body 501st, whereas Hasbro was only giving us the archive. That was a little closer because Hasbro did have an option out there being the archive, but if you wanted the new body 501st and you were insistent on that, well, you weren't really directly undercutting Hasbro because you probably weren't going to buy the archive anyway. However, now we're getting this Kenobi Commander Apo, which I don't give a shit about the name. That is just a 501st clone. So now that figure is coming out, it's going to be readily available. I would definitely agree that the 501st clone on AliExpress is less moral now. But looking at the other ones they had, the 13th Battalion, the 501st, the 187th, those are direct copies of what Hasbro has available. The Shock Trooper is just the Walmart Bad Batch Shock Trooper without the pauldron. That is such a minute change for a piece that can just be popped off of that figure. I would say that pretty much any of the others from that original batch of 7, basically all of these are kind of not ideal pickups anymore. They're definitely not super moral when you have a Hasbro option. However, looking at all of the customs that AliExpress has done, because they have made an insane amount. One of our newest drops is this 2/12 batch, where they're giving us Phase 1 2/12 clones, which is insane, and then a Phase 1 Waxer and Boyle, and then a Phase 1, or just a 2/12 ARF Trooper with normal blasters, and then like a 2/12 ARF Specialist with the minigun and the backpack. I mean, the minigun and the backpack. Like, AliExpress made these. They made the helmet for these ARF Troopers. The from the neck down, yeah, it's Hasbro, or Bootleg Hasbro. But, like, AliExpress is, like, putting some custom parts on these, and they look really good. And these would look great on, like, a Geonosis Clone Wars, like, setup, if you wanted to, have a bunch of the pink battle droids, go up against your Clone Wars Obi-Wan and some Phase 1 2/12. They've had 10 years to give us Phase 1 Legions from the Clone Wars. Obviously, they don't care to do so. If your options are to have a Hasbro ARF Trooper or an AliExpress ARF Trooper, the only way you're going to get an ARF Trooper for the shelf is to buy the AliExpress one, because Hasbro's never going to do it. So I'm in the camp of, I want the ARF Trooper on my shelf, and I'm a little less focused on the morality of it. If you want a morally grandstand, that's entirely your choice. And hey, by all means, be a Hasbro shill and hyper focus on the legality of it, which is not illegal, and it is what it is. I mean, it's your choice. I can't make you buy these. No one can make you buy a bootleg action figure. But don't go into comment sections and like rant and rave and tell everyone that you're on a federal watch list and tell people that you're immoral and you're sinning, and because that was what went down. Speaking of what went down, this was last Friday on the Star Wars The Black Series Instagram page, which is not actually an official Black Series page. It was Zach from Black Series Cantina. Shout out to Black Series Cantina. It's always a fun listen, and Zach's a chill dude. I got to meet him at ICCC Nashville this last month. It was a great time. Zach had posted a picture of the 2/12 releases that LA just put up last week, and there was someone in there just going off about Hasbro bootlegs. And then over the course of the weekend, it might have been Sunday or Monday morning, Zach's Instagram got deleted. And he's not really a terms of service violating kind of guy. And then I noted and kind of mentioned in the comments on Mike Case's post about it that when you click report on Instagram to report a post, one of the things that you can click about, like why I'm reporting this post, is the sale of illegal or regulated goods. So I'm just guessing that this morally grandstanding guy was reporting Zach's post, and Instagram was like, that's illegal, and because the post said, like knockoff or bootleg clones or whatever in it, merely in a discussion kind of way, and Instagram just deleted it. So I do want to throw out there that Zach has a new Instagram post, or a new Instagram account. He's going by Zach-Black Series Cantina, or just the username is Black Series Cantina. Go give Zach a follow. He's a cool guy who got taken out for nothing, and maybe his post didn't get reported. Maybe it was just an Instagram fluke. However, I will just throw out here that if you are the kind of person that disagrees with someone and starts reporting their post, not when they're really doing anything wrong, it's kind of like a trendy thing these days to where we disagree. Well, I'm reporting you. I'm calling your boss and telling them about this off-color thing you said on social media, 20 years ago. Not to get super political or whatever. But if you're the kind of person who you get into a disagreement with someone and the only thing you can come up with is tattling on them, like an elementary schooler, well, that's the way you're choosing to live your life, and that's absolutely fine. But don't consider us friends, please, because we're different people. So, and that's where I'm at. You're not invited here. This is a space that we don't tolerate that. So that's where I'm at. Thank you guys for watching this Topical Tuesday. As always, it means a lot. Leave a like, comment down below. What do you think about these bootleg Black Series figures? Other than that one person on Zach's comments on Friday, I've not really seen anyone have anything bad to say about them at all. So apparently they're liked. So like, comment, subscribe. Unsubscribe if you're the kind of person to tattle on people's, posts about bootleg figures online. And I will catch you next week. Until then, have a good day.